Post-election, how do we heal our minds, our bodies, and our souls? This has been quite a week following this presidential election, and a lot of us are reeling off the results, feeling a lot of sadness, anxiety, so many different things we're feeling right now. So, I have, if you've noticed, I've been doing a number of videos in support of Black women and really providing a space for us to talk about how we're feeling, how we're impacted, and to hold space for us. And I know some people I've had a number of trolls coming, but we're not going to pay attention to trolls. We will continue to do what we need to do to provide space for us. This is a safe space for us to talk about how we're feeling. So today, I thought it would be a good idea to focus on different forms of healing today. So we're going to talk about healing our minds, healing our bodies, and healing our souls. So I have three Black women who will be joining me. So we're having a little technical difficulties. That's why I was a little late today. So please accept my apologies. So I'm going to, at different moments, have them speak. Also, so you understand that the way it's set up, that anyone can answer the questions that I have, but there's also going to be opportunities where they're actually going to walk us through some healing practices. So, not just talking about it, actually doing things to help us heal. So, everyone, again, welcome. If you don't know me already, I'm Dr. Kamani. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist, a toxic job survivor, but more importantly, I'm a toxic job liberator for Black women. Again, this is a space where we're holding for us as Black women to talk about our experiences following this presidential election. Okay. So I'm going to have my guests introduce themselves first, and then we're going to get right into the conversation. So, Rev, if you can introduce yourself, please.
Good evening, everyone. I am the Reverend Odell Montgomery Cooper, and I am the CEO and founding president for Interruptions Disrupting the Silence.
Thank you. Carolyn.
Yeah, hi, my name is Carolyn Coleridge, licensed clinical social worker, and my business is Conscious Creation, a meditation and healing center.
Thank you. Leslie.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Leslie Salmon Jones, and I am the co founder of Afroflow Yoga.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. I'm so excited. And let me just tell you, this was pulled together in, I think, a day. I had the thought and I just reached out to these awesome Black women and they said yes. So I'm so full of gratitude to each of them. So, ladies, I've again been talking on my YouTube channel about how devastated I have been about these election results. And I've had a number of Black women comment as well. So, as healers, it's important for us to first, check in with ourselves. So, let's start off the conversation with talking about how were you impacted by the election results? And any one of you can start.
I'll go. Good evening, everyone. The night before the election, I turned off the TV. I needed to have a good night's sleep because I didn't want to know. And I got a good night's sleep, and it wasn't until 8 o'clock that I decided to let my emotions join the rest of the world. And then when I reached for my phone and I saw that it said the guy won,
Mm-hmm.
I had a pit in my stomach
Mm,
and it felt nauseating.
yeah.
And I was angry and disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
And I acknowledged those emotions and I checked out because that's how the gut, like a punch in the gut, felt for me.
I felt the same exact way. Like somebody had like just punched me in my gut. I felt the same way. What about for you, Carolyn? How did you feel following the election?
I originally felt like this isn't real, that this is something happened. Somebody did something. It felt like an inconvenient truth that was in with years ago what happened. And it just didn't feel real. I said somebody did something. It didn't make sense to me. And it's
Mm-hmm.
funny, the solar plexus, I guess a yoga person know more about that, but that's the power center of solar means sun or means God. So our God in us was like, this is off. This doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
This wasn't supposed to happen. I don't know
Yeah.
what happened, but it just felt very very disillusion,
Yeah.
disillusionment, and also
Yeah.
disappointment and anger. Yeah.
Yes, profound disappointment, confusion, because coming into the election, the polls and all the newscasters were saying something completely different. And then you hear all these people about we're in coalition, we're collaborating, and it's like this almost a betrayal. Like, wait a minute, what happened? I was not prepared for this. So thank you, Carolyn. What about for you, Leslie? How did it impact you?
Yeah, so I had a different experience where the day before the election, I live in Boston, and the weather was just like, you know, un, you know, seasonably warm. Of course, there's, the whole climate with the climate, but it was a beautiful day, and I got out and I went for a 9-mile walk, and I ended up seeing people I hadn't seen for a long time. And I was seeing the beauty in people. And it was like people from all walks of life, multi-generational, multicultural. And I didn't listen to the polls at all, because I learned from last time not to trust them at
Right.
all. Because it
Yes.
was like last time I really felt the guttural
Yes.
thing because I was watching the polls. So I
Yes.
did not do this time at all. And just from conversations I've had with people and people from around the country, I was like, probably the night of seeing the numbers going in the way that they were going, I thought, oh, this is not looking good. So I was not that shocked when I woke up in the morning, but I really prepared myself before I went to bed. I turned off all of the sensationalism, all the chatter. It's like
Mhm.
I did a long meditation, and I did a deep prayer.
Mm.
And when I heard the news, my husband told me the news, and I just, I was like, okay, let me check in. Let me check in with the ancestors. Let me check in with my body, and I was like, we're moving through the dark night of the soul. And
Mm.
so, just feeling that in my body, and just also feeling in some senses like I signed up for this, and I'm kind of in a way, I'm like, scary as it is, I also feel there's some other something spiritually that's happening that
Mhm.
is going to, I feel more like, of course I went through that process, but I wasn't as like, of course it's disappointing, but I
Mhm.
also feel like there's an opportunity for us to fly, like to really
Yeah.
rise to this
Yeah.
occasion,
Yeah.
heal, like
Yes.
heal. That's it.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why I am really prioritizing spending my time talking about not only processing my experiences, but allowing Black women to talk about our experiences, because when we're connected to our emotion and we mobilize together, there's such a potential for healing. And so I think that so many of us are in need of healing right now. And so that's why we're having this space. So you talked about meditation and prayer. What about for you, Rev O and Carolyn? How have you been healing as a result of all this stuff that's been going on?
For me, for healing, I'm taking cues from Leslie and Carolyn. I have meditated. I've listened to gospel music that fills and calms my soul. I've lit candles to breathe in calmness, and I've turned off social media
Mm-hmm.
after spending about 45 minutes unfriending people
Cool.
because I didn't want to see or hear any dings or any notifications. I turned off all notifications on Facebook, Instagram, because I needed to check out
Yeah.
and I needed to check in on how I was feeling. I didn't talk to anyone on the phone. It's like, not today. No
Mm-hmm.
meetings, no work. So for me, it was meditation. And like
Mm.
Leslie said, it was a beautiful day. So I'm like, yeah, well, I guess it's not cold enough because when President Obama was elected, it was a cold, freezing day. So I'm like, okay, it's gonna be cold. She's gonna win. And because it was a warm, beautiful day, I'm like, no, it's not for us. But
Ah,
I went out. This is just my metaphor, but I have been off social media, not watched the news, did not read the post or anything, and
mhm,
have checked out to take care of myself and my spirit, and
mhm.
gave myself permission
Yeah,
to be angry, to be
yeah,
disappointed, but
yeah.
then to know that I could not stay there
Yes.
because it's not healthy.
Exactly, exactly. It's one thing in terms of what's happened, but when we think about if the situation kind of takes us out, or we start thinking we're not going to vote again, or it steals our hopes and our dreams, now they've really won. Now they've really done something. And so for us to take this time to think about what we need for protecting our peace, and then what do we need to do moving forward. So thank you, Rev. Oh, what about for you, Carolyn? What did you do after the election results?
Well, I'm in Connecticut. I know she's in Boston, so it was a warm day. It's interesting we're talking about temperature, but after dealing with a lot of clients, especially young women who were really distraught, and it was really hard hearing their sadness, seeing their eyes, and I thought it was going to be different, and everyone, even I've had white men, I've had Asian, it really impacted. And I was like, well, what is going on here? But
Mhm.
I'm metaphysician, which is metaphysical means above the physical. So I was focusing on not focusing on, as others have said, but also is to, what you focus on expands. So if I
Mm,
focused on the fear and the anger and the sadness, I get more of it. And
mm,
and I went into meditation as everyone else did, but I also do channeling, and I got this download that this is not real, like this is an experience, and that Black women are going to get stronger, a lot of women, but that we can rise above this. Like I felt like my
mhm.
ancestors are like, well, you have a voice now, you have a group, you have wonderful, you have people to help.
Mhm,
This is not a time to, it's like game on. This is not a time to, at the beginning cry, be sad, or me and my
mhm.
sister really were talking about it, but then also to rise above and say that there's not enough, that there's so many women that, this is just what I got. There's so many women that have a misogynistic tendencies or internalized self-hatred, and that we need to kind of educate them on
Yeah.
how this, like education, and how this is going to affect them, and then
Mhm.
also to kind of gather them up. There's so many young people that are starting things, and that also that they're not going to push us down. This is just the beginning,
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
just, oh, you want to play? Okay, let's bring it on. Let's
They have
let's get ready.
mobilized us, like, right. It's like we've
Yes,
been hurt.
exactly.
Yes, we've been hurt, and we will take time to grieve, and we've also been activated in ways that maybe we haven't been before. And I think as Black women, we are really saying, wait a minute, I need to protect my peace. I need to do what
Hmm.
I need to do. I need to rest. I need to do all these other things without prioritizing other people over me. So I think that that's been beneficial in terms of maybe a new way of being for us as Black women. So as we talk about the experiences with Black women, what have you heard from other Black women about how they're impacted by the election results?
It varies. The biggest mistake that we could make is thinking because they are a woman of color, a Black woman, that they voted for Harris.
Right,
And it what is not true.
right.
There are many people who look like us, walk like us, dine with us, who did not vote, who chose to vote for that guy.
Hmm.
And the hardest part for me was looking at their pages be happy
Oh, wow.
and promote positivity, future and this and that. And I do business with them, I
Mm,
labor with them, I'm in ministry with them. And it was challenging for me not to get petty
yeah.
and realize that God loves, God's grace. Everyone has a right to their vote and a right to their truth. So the challenge for me was to comfort other women who did vote like me, and I
Hmm.
did vote for her, and to let them know that we can't hate,
Mm.
We can't judge. We can't push people away because of their choice of a vote. It's their choice, their right. Um, but we just have to love and trust God
Yeah.
that we're going to continue to move forward. But it was disheartening for me, and I
Yeah.
wanted to get petty,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I could not. I said, nope, that's not the God in me. I will not do that. I will not let this election bring hatred and anger and disgust into my heart, into my being, and treat
Hmm.
others that way. So I would not do that. So it's been
Yeah.
a constant prayer.
Yeah. And making you into somebody that you aren't really. So it's like distorting who you are. And even though it is infuriating, but you said I did other things, like I set boundaries. So thinking about for us in this time that we might need to set boundaries, maybe not communicate with certain people for a certain while, but what can we do to protect our peace is so important. What about for you, Leslie? What have you heard from other Black women about the election results?
Similar to Reverend Cooper, varied as well, which is, I think, it's actually, in a sense, it's a sign of, in a sense, it's a sign of our growth. I know that's going to sound kind of odd, but I think um, I think that there are some issues that I'm learning. I'm really leaning into listening right now
Mm-hmm.
because there is a lot of pain on the planet. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anyone's exempt of pain.
Mm-hmm.
And so, there's a lot of what I'm noticing is that it's not about him. A lot of it is about issues.
Hmm.
A lot of it's about poverty.
Mm-hmm.
People who don't have aren't making minimum wage.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot about, some of it's about our food insecurity. Some of it's about like RFK, which depending on the algorithm that you were getting, because the
Mm-hmm.
algorithms were at play here,
Mm-hmm.
RFK, some people have been feeding into the whole thing, RFK and the getting rid of the FDA. Like so a lot of those arguments and I'm tuned in. Like I was tuned particularly to Democracy Now,
Mm-hmm.
which I listen to, which is a very fair. I don't know if you're aware. It's like a nonprofit, and they cover everybody. Like they get a lot of perspectives, particularly the voices that aren't heard.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some argument. So I'm just realizing, like, how much did AI and all these things play in the perceptions, in our perception. So we
Mm-hmm.
can all have our truth in the center of our universe as what we think is right and fair. And
Mm-hmm.
then we have our pain. And then
Yeah.
it's like, it's our pain bodies talking to each other, getting triggered left, right, and center. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
very aware of that because I work in with a lot of trauma. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm just noticing, ooh, I'm hearing like from the pain, and even if they voted on whichever side,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, so I'm just, and so that's, to me, it's like why I say it's a sign of growth is maybe we're getting, as someone who's been on a healing journey for 30 years and continuing to peel the onion and open the, get to the heart.
Mm-hmm.
It's like sometimes it gets worse before it gets better. So sometimes when something's revealed, that means there's an opportunity for healing.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. 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 And I'm wondering, because you said there's so much pain going on, and I'm saying when we think about the pain for Black women, because we've been talking about this a lot on my channel, Black women have been talking about the devastation that they feel. They also talk about this disrespect of people holding space or allowing for us to have the feelings that we feel. So saying things like, why do you think she was going to win in the first place? You should have known, like almost like shaming, or, America's that way. What were you thinking? Or, oh, I got to read this one comment to you guys. Okay. Let me read this one comment to you guys. So I read this before, but I want to get your guys' perspectives about this, right? So this is a comment to one of my videos recently. I'm so tired of these videos about Black women grieving. How about all women of color, any color, be it Black, brown, red, or yellow? We women have more to worry about than color. We need to worry about losing our bodily autonomy. We need to worry about losing the rights of our ancestors fought and even died for since time immemorial. We need to worry about our daughters and their daughters. We need to worry about rape and murder and harassment. Men want us to separate ourselves from each other, and some women are falling for it again because we are so trusting. You are thinking like men when you divide us women into Black and everyone else because that is living in a vacuum. Sisterhood is powerful. And then she wrote a part 2. So I did a video in response to the audacity of telling Black women how we need to feel about this election, because we can have the full range of feelings, but I don't want anybody feeling like they're okay with shutting down how we're feeling, right? So then she writes back, okay, now she's been blocked, okay? Whoever this is, they've been blocked, okay? The audacity of trying to tell Indigenous women how to feel, the audacity of trying to tell Asian women how to feel, the audacity of trying to tell brown women how they should feel, the audacity of telling women how to feel about this election. I don't want to ignore any individual collective experience because while we are blaming each other, the white man is laughing at us falling into this trap of divide and conquer. Sisterhood would be powerful if we could just get together as a sex without all this backstabbing. And I think what's lost for a lot of people is when we talk about and center the experience of Black women, it's because we're often not given a voice. We're often told, get over it, you got to keep moving, whatever. Like our emotions are generally not valued at all. So when we do have space for that, there's been a lot of pushback. There's been a lot of pushback for us expressing how we feel. So I'm just curious for you guys as healers, what are your thoughts about comments like this? And let me add this one. I've also heard Black women say they feel very isolated, even within their families, because some people in their family will say, you know what, you need to move past this and just give it to God. Just give it to God and let's just move on. So they feel like silenced and they feel like they don't really have a voice.
The voice has never been for the Black woman. And if we haven't realized it now, it's clear it has
Yes.
never been in our favor. We've always been told since slavery, keep going, keep put your mask on, keep it to yourself. We've
Yes.
always been told that to carry that pain and that quietness. I used to teach classes, and people, white women, would say, I don't like Black Lives Matter. All lives matter. Um, Black women aren't the only ones that have trauma. I have trauma too. We don't know your trauma. We don't know your pain. We don't know your grief because we don't walk in your shoes. We walk in our shoes. We
Mm-hmm.
walk in the skin and the life of a Black woman. That's
Mm-hmm.
what I know, and that's the voice that I can speak from and try to speak to. We
Mm-hmm.
have a right to hold space. We have a right to be Black women and to hold space for each other. Good, bad, or indifferent, we deserve that right and to have that voice.
Mm-hmm.
We should not be told, do not believe, do not buy into. I caution us, do not buy into, give it to God, and it's God's will. If it happens, yes, God knows everything. Want to be clear. God knows everything. This has not shaken my faith in God. This has shaken my hope in humanity in this country about how they continuously treat us and how me, I had hope. Kamala gave me hope. And
Yeah.
now when she did not win, that hope disappeared.
Yeah.
So for Black women, I'm my democracy, my ability to think that we're going to is going to get better, that's shaken. It is
Mm-hmm.
shaken. It's like holes are poking all the way through that. So my hope is broken. And I
Mm.
have a hard time right now holding on to democracy and equity and fairness. And people have been calling, we need prayer, we need prayer. It's like give a reverend a break. I have to deal with me. I have
Yeah.
to replenish me before I can replenish you.
Yeah.
And That's where I am. But we should always, never, ever, ever be afraid to speak your voice, speak your pain, and still love God.
Yeah.
Still have faith, but speak your voice and speak your pain, or you'll never get through it.
Yeah. And find the spaces where people honor that. So please let us not waste our time arguing with people about, I have a right. No, just limit your contact with those people and find those spaces where your voice is validated. Okay. What about for you, Leslie? What would you say to comments like this or other comments trying to shut Black women down or even shaming us for having the feelings we do?
Yeah. So I'd say I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood with a lot of racism around me. And my mom was a human rights activist and civil rights activist, both my parents. And so I grew up in the toxicity of it. And I think that was actually a blessing because I really learned not to absorb any of it. Like as much, like it's just not mine. It doesn't belong to me. And so I started my healing journey because I was very confused with my identity as a Black woman, not having a lot growing up in Canada. And really, well, fortunately, my parents put us through Black heritage. And, you know, we had a really good foundation. But still, when you go out in the world and you face racism in the workplace and all that. So I really, the deeper I go into my healing, the deeper I unpeel and get very grounded in who I am and in spirit and God. Comments like that, everyone's, you know, has their own perspective, but you can't gloss over healing. Like it just, you can't get from A to B. Yeah, sure, it would be wonderful for all of us to come together and, you know, rise above, which is, I think that's the aspiration for humanity right now, because we actually do have to get it together to be on the planet. However, the pain will not go away. So you can't actually skip this process. So for me, if anything, like this moment is so revealing, like of how triggered we are from this moment. And so that just means like we have to go deeper into our healing. Like that is the priority. And so whatever people say, I'm like, I don't need it. Like it's, I don't have to absorb that. I actually don't have to absorb. Like, thank you for your comment, but that's not my reality. I'm claiming my healing because my ancestors, you know, they have earned it, you know, I've earned my healing. So.
Yeah. So step back. And I wore my shirt today, speak your truth, because I want us to know that we can speak our truth. And when people like come onto this channel and they've said some horrible things, I blocked a lot of people. And it's just recognized as Black women that people many times don't value our humanity. And when we have feelings, they don't really care, and they'll still try to bully us. So again, block those people, limit contact with them. And like you said, let's go deeper into our healing. So now we're going to talk a little bit more about steps forward with our healing. So healing, as we talked about, is a journey. So as we are healing from this, and I can't believe it hasn't even been a full week. Okay. So as we're healing from this, I really thought it would be a good idea to bring in Black women to talk about healing from different perspectives. So I'm going to check with Carolyn because I know she had some technical issues, right? So as I'm checking in with Carolyn, Leslie, if you can start us off with healing in relation to Afroflow yoga. And if you could just tell the audience a little bit about what Afroflow yoga is. And full transparency, everyone, I am in the process of becoming an Afroflow yoga teacher. So that's how I know Leslie. So Leslie, can you talk? Yay. Oh, here's Carolyn right here. So can you, hold on one second. Hey, Carolyn, welcome back.
Technical difficulty, sorry.
No problem. So Carolyn, let me ask you a question. Are you okay with going into the guided meditation right now, or would you like for Leslie to start off with the Afroflow yoga?
Oh, Afroflow. Give me a chance to better.
Okay, Leslie. So tell us about Afroflow yoga and lead us through whatever you would like to lead us through for about 2 to 5 minutes.
Okay. So Afro Flow Yoga is something my husband and I co-created about 16 years ago after wanting to learn more about our ancestors after 3 of our parents passed away, and we went through West Africa. My background's in dance. I trained at Alvin Ailey, and I want to say a shout out to Jude Jameson, who just transitioned.
Yeah.
So I came to yoga over 30 years ago in 91 at Alvin Ailey, and that was part of my healing journey, really. And my husband, who's an engineer and multi-instrumentalist, we through meditation and prayer and guidance from our ancestors, after doing 2 years of traveling all throughout the Caribbean and West Africa, Afro Flow Yoga came through, and it's a practice. There's been yoga in Africa for thousands of years. So, and dance and music has been part of our liberation, has survived, the rhythms and the dances have survived through our African Holocaust and remain in our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been honored to be doing healing circles all around the world, and trauma healing our ancestors, the collective trauma and individual trauma. So I'm going to I don't usually, my husband has all the drums and all the things.
Let me say this. Say this. If you have not been to an Afro Flow Yoga class in person with the live music, it's like a spiritual experience. You need to go. So they're based in Boston. So if you are in the Boston area, and they all even have online classes, so I have information about that, you need to check it out. So you're in for treats that you're going to get a little snapshot of Afro Flow Yoga.
Yes. I'll just do a little quick one. And one of the things that I do to help restore my nervous system, I invite you to put your feet flat on the floor, come into some breaths, like let's connect to our breath, our hearts, and connect, imagine from your feet all the way down into the earth, the connection of our roots, the trees of humanity and our trees of our ancestors. And imagine standing on millions of shoulders of our ancestors. And then as you breathe in, drawing that strength all the way up to your feet, feel that energy and the power all the way up to your legs and your belly. Taking a breath in, breath out. And now imagine, if you will, if it feels comfortable for you, to begin to extend your arms up. Just imagine you're like a tree growing, the branches and the leaves, and then imagine this, just feeling that connection for all of us. And then taking a deep breath in and deep breath out, and anything that's not serving you in this moment, like the trees teach us to release, to shake. This is what the animals do to release trauma. I invite you to just give it a shake, and imagine there's drums playing and you just let it go. You can shake anything, shake it off for 20 seconds. Go. Breathe, let it go. 10 seconds, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, inhale. And then washing like the beautiful water, healing waters, washing every cell, organ of your being. Take it down through your heart, through your belly. And I invite you, if it's available, just to lean down and stretch it out and connect to the earth. Take a moment just to give gratitude and connect to the earth. And then inhale, coming all the way back up. I invite us to bring our hands to our hearts and feel that connection of each other and the strength and wisdom and guidance of our ancestors. Ashe.
Ashe. That was beautiful. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you. Okay, so that was in terms of healing our bodies. So it's important to heal our bodies and recognize that trauma lives in our bodies. And so we need to be able to move it out. So it's not just staying there, okay? So the hope is, as we are in this healing season, this healing process, that you are doing something to continually move your bodies. So again, Afroflow Yoga is an option. Again, I'll put information for Afroflow Yoga in the description section so you can check it out, okay? So thank you again, Leslie. And I look forward to, once I become a teacher, to provide some of this Afroflow Yoga for Black women as well, okay? Dealing with toxic jobs, get that toxicity out of our bodies. So Carolyn, are you ready?
I am.
Okay. So Carolyn is going to talk to us and provide us with a healing strategy related to our minds. How do we heal our minds? So Carolyn, I'm going to turn it over to you to lead us through meditation.
Okay, great. So just continuing with the wonderful Leslie's yoga, I want feet, flat on the floor and you're centered. And I want you to call in your ancestors and call in your guides and call in your angels and the ascended masters and all the wonderful beings that walk before us who overcame so much with so much power of thinking about us and thinking about us in the future. And we will think about our children, our ancestors that will be forthcoming, and that we are going to hold the energy of the strength of the divine in our heart center. Our heart represents the light within us. Our light, our peace, our spirit relies in our heart. And I want you to take a breath in and out. And I want you to take another breath in and out. Imagine this beautiful golden light, like the fire of the sun, is so bright and strong with the energy of the divine in it. And take another breath in and out. And as we call in our ancestors, our guardian angels, and our guides, we're going to ask them to help lead us into a higher plane of existence and awareness. Like Christ taught us, we are in the world but not of it. We will be there for others. We will be centered in our own peace, but we won't engage in the negativity because we know who we really are. We are the children of the Most Divine and the first souls that God placed on Mother Earth, Gaia. We are the first tribes that were here that are supposed to lead others into truth, integrity, and what is right. That light within us that was blown into us by God's source is a sacred energy. I want you to honor it. Your spirit means breath. So whenever you feel lost, saddened, or let down, you take a cleansing breath in and out. You blow in, you inhale power, strength, and love, and exhale fear, anger, and worry. Because the truth is that you are the complete package, and that you're ordained and you're also given gifts by the divine. And when you call upon your ancestors and God, they will give you more powerful answers in the darkness, more exciting creations and ideas, more light and miracles, mystical experiences, and aha moments that will rise up to the truth. Because the darkness is only of fear, and the light is the magic of God. So stay present. When your mind wanders into fear, go back to your heart. When your mind goes to worry, go back to your center.
And when you're in the space of fear, you embolden the word faith upon your head, your heart, your stomach. Put your shoulders up straight. Say, I am a child of the Most High, and I'm ordained for this time right now. As my ancestors walked in shackles, I'm releasing the mind shackles that have me to believe that there is something wrong with me. There is nothing wrong. You are perfect and whole, and you are gifted. And take a breath in and out. And take another breath in and out. And breathe in faith and release fear. Your ancestors are with you. Place peace in your heart and be well. Bring yourself back in the room, feeling your fingers and toes.
Wow. Thank you, Carolyn. Just wow. When I think about the cleansing breath and the importance of us knowing that healing is accessible to us at all times through breath. And when you said breathe in faith and breathe out fear, I hope that we can hold on to that and remembering who we really belong to. Even though all the stuff is going on around us, that our ancestors are there, they're behind us, they're supporting us, and just remembering that we have the power of our breath. That was beautiful. Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we're going to move to Rev O, who will lead us in prayer.
It is if I can just add, this is an honor to be in this space with like-minded women that understand the power of our ancestors and the walk that we have and the journey that we have. Both of you are exhibiting exactly what the women need to do to not own the stress, because trauma lives in our bodies and it shows up. Fear, anger can live in our bodies and show up in our health. Part of interruptions is what I do is to have people to name it, not just put it in a bucket and call it Satan and call it grief. You have to name it. And if you're saying, I'm grieving the election, ask yourself, what are you grieving? Are you angry that your person didn't win? Are you angry? Do you have lack of hope for the future? Name it, own it, claim it, so that you can address it and not hold on to it. But when you put it in a bucket and say Satan or grief, we never deal with it. We have to address the fact that people are going to tell us God is in charge. It's God's will. I think Leslie said for this earlier is that we also have to take into accountability what we did and what we did not do. There has been no other person in history who can be a felon, disrespect women, disrespect people of color, disrespect the courts, the law, and still be elected president. We're taught to love and to respect one another, but yet in this case, all the rules have been broken. So
Mm-hmm.
it goes to show you that it doesn't matter, Black Lives Matter, women's right, the Me Too movement. We need to be clear that this world is saying to us, You don't matter to us. We're in charge. But we're here, and our ancestors did not die in vain. They
Yes.
fought for us. They fought a good fight for us. They fought for us to be here, for Leslie to be in Canada, now in Boston, and Carolyn, you're in Connecticut with me, and Dr. Kamani. We've met each other virtually, but look what our ancestors have given us. So we can't give up. We have to do better. We have to care about our community. We have to love one another and not judge us because a woman loves another woman or a man loves another man. You love who you love. It's not our call. God gives us grace and justice and loves us all. And we have to do better humanity. We have to care about each other. We stopped going to church and got comfortable sitting at home on YouTube, clicking a button, but we forget about the institution that our ancestors built.
Mhm.
Not every church is perfect. No, not every pastor is perfect. No, but the community of love and fellowship is what we walked away from. We've got 2 to 3 generations that don't know God, don't know what it means to be an usher, what it means to sing in a choir, what it means to be a trustee, a missionary, a young missionary. They don't know. We took that away from them. And now, when I went to church today, the house was full, the parking lot was full.
Wow.
Everybody wants the local church. We can't turn our back on our faith community and each other. We need to do better. We need to show up for each other better. We've been here before and we need to stick together. Don't lose hope. I'm trying hard not to lose hope, but it's like it's shattered. But my faith, your faith is never challenged. And don't let people tell you not to share your pain because you have a lack of faith. That is not true. Your faith is strong. But yes, God holds us accountable too for our actions and what we did not do, what we should do better, because there are many people who are sheep's and wolf's clothing, pastors that said, I am not voting for same gender marriages. I am not voting for women that want to get an abortion. I am not voting for, they said it from their pulpit. And we were like, yeah, yeah, yeah. No. And look what happened.
Mhm.
Humanity, people, we have to put us first. We have to care about one another. And Black women, we have to care about us. And we have to stay together because, as you can see, no one else will. Our ancestors fought and died for us. And what are we going to do for the next generation? It's our role to set the pace, to take them back to an institution of faith, introduce them to God, to help them to know and to understand and to have faith because we need it. We can't, our ancestors, we can't live and breathe faith without God. And we need God in our lives. We need, I'm not going to say Jesus because some people are not Christians, but whatever we all believe in a God. And that is who and what we need in our lives, and respect for ourselves and respect for others. And only God knows where we're headed. And it's not over yet, but only God knows. People have said, I can't pray for him. I can pray for him. I pray that whatever you put together that is in judgment of women and children and poor, I pray that it fails. That's my prayer. I pray that anytime you try to put division together, I pray that it fails. I pray that it fails. Don't harden our hearts. Don't have hate in your heart because God will not bless you. And we have no idea how God is going to bless us and open up what God is going to do. Trust God. Don't hate. Don't get angry. Breathe it out. Let it go. Trust God. Read the scriptures. Listen to the music. Find something that brings you joy, brings you love, and brings you hope, because we can't give up on hope. Our ancestors did not give up on hope. They said, I may not get there with you, but you'll have it. And we do. We didn't lose it. We're going to hold on to it. It's going to look different. The world is going to look different, but we're going to stand tall and walk in the faith, walk in God's love, walk in peace and love for one another, and not judge who we love, how we live, the texture of our hair, or the complexion of our skin. We're women. We're Black women made in excellence. And we've got to believe it. You've got to hold on to it, because God is with us. But we too have to take accountability for how we treat one another and how we have walked away from the local institution of our faith community. We need our faith community. We need each other. So find it, go back to it, breathe it in. You can't breathe it in on the computer. You got to breathe it in by being in person. So go back. Someone says, I'm not going back. That's your choice. But I encourage you to do whatever it is that you need to do for you to find God, because that's who we need and that's what we need, however it looks for you. And going back to church doesn't work for you. Find joy, find love, find God the best way you can and the way that you can, and keep God in your heart. Because the moment we start hating and judging and separating and turning our backs, that's not what our ancestors died for. They died for us to help one another and pull each other up. And that is my prayer for us as a people. That is my prayer for us as women. That is my prayer for us as Black women. Love and support, and don't harden your heart.
Wow. Wow. So many things. Don't harden our hearts, and to remember that we are here for each other, and not to dwell on the hatred, dwell on the negativity, that we have to stay focused on that we are here to love ourselves and to support one another no matter what, no matter what. That was beautiful. Thank you, Rebel. So I have a question for you all. Wow, I feel so relaxed right now. Hopefully everybody feels very relaxed. Um, and let me just say how powerful that was to hear from three Black women and different ways of healing that we can all tap into. So, if there's the Black woman watching us right now, and she is struggling, she's in pain right now, she's in a lot of pain, and she's trying to get herself together because she has to go back to her job tomorrow. And she may be working a toxic job. And I've heard from a lot of Black women who are saying that things their job have gotten even more toxic since the election. If that is that Black woman and she's listening right now, what words of wisdom or support can you offer to her?
We all have to find our way, and everyone's going to have advice for someone. Try this, don't do that, do that. You have to know you as a human, as a woman. You have to know your body. You have to know your tolerance. You have to know your heart, your finances, your faith, what's important to you. What's important to you may not be the same for me. How I can live may not be how you can live. You've got to know you. And Leslie was talking about breathing, and not just breathing. When you breathe, you touch you. You touch you. You touch your mind and your soul. You have to know you and what you can do and figure out what's best for you and your family. But your health is important. And we can't continue to be quiet and believe the myths and stigmas that it doesn't matter. Our voice doesn't matter. It does matter because trauma shows up in our bodies and it
Mhm.
will affect your health and your life, your relationships, your finances, everything,
Mhm.
unless you name it and deal with it. So it can't be overlooked or underlooked. We have to know it and deal with it.
So I guess what we're saying too is, so if a Black woman's watching right now and she's struggling, it's to give honor to how she's feeling, to say, wait a minute, what am I feeling and why? To understand what that is and say, you know what? Maybe this environment is not the place for me. And maybe I need to start making plans to get out because it's not healthy for me. It's going to show up in so many different ways. Okay. Thank you, Revo. What about you two? What would you guys say to this Black woman who's watching and she's in pain right now?
Well, I've been in pain in many jobs, so I'm going to take quotes from other people. Eyes on the prize. You know, where are you going? Where's your final destination? My boss has always been, maybe for the last 10, 15 years, God. And the job's just paying me.
I
So,
love that.
oh yeah, work for the divine. Eyes on the prize. And then Jesus, be of the world, but not of it. So I can smile with people and may not take it in. I'm not going to get into arguments or this and that, but keep saying, I am the divine child of the God. I call in my guardian angel. I call in angels. So if I'm supposed to like run into the bully or the supporter of whatever, the orange Frito in the my coworker used that term, at the water fountain, all of a sudden I'll drop a pen and I won't run in. It just, the magic of mysticism and miracles and just say, no, I'm a child of the divine. I'm the eyes and the prize. This is my world I'm creating here. And then of course, Maya Angelou, when people show you who they are, you already know who they are.
Yes.
Believe them. Don't
Yes.
even waste time. And even if they look like you, there's a lot of crazy people out there. They're drinking the Kool-Aid. It's like, no, thank you. I had to unfriend several people. Like, are you insane? Oh no, that's who they are. That's okay. Thank you. Goodbye. See you later.
Yes.
Just clearing
Yes.
out. So eyes on the prize. And there's every day angels protect me. Divine, my guardian angel. I met her. She was a Black woman. It was really good to see her. I call in, anyone that can help me, that has walked the path. And every day I thank my ancestors. Thank you. Thank you. Because I'm here because you weren't here. You
Yeah.
didn't have a desk. You didn't have this. You
Yeah.
didn't have that. And my parents showed up they both passed on. They've showed up in my dream smiling. And I'm like, okay, so there's a destiny where I'm ready to go. But keep it going. Keep it
Yeah.
going. Keep believing who you are. You're ordained, you're appointed and anointed by the divine.
Yes. And remembering that our ancestors didn't have agency, they didn't have choice, they didn't have options, but we do. And so when I think about, staying in a toxic job per se, I feel like that's in some ways giving dishonor to them, that they sacrificed and did so many different things. And I'm pretty sure they wouldn't want us to be suffering at some job, even though there's other ways for us to make money, right? So, Carolyn, I paraphrase what you said, but I love that. My boss is God and my job just pays me money. Very good. Okay. I'm going to start using that. Okay. Thank you, Carolyn. What about for you, Leslie? What would you say to a Black woman who's watching right now?
Well, I agree with both Carolyn and Reverend Cooper with their amazing wisdom. And I would add, I must say that when I was about 18, I worked for a corporation, and that's all I needed to know. People abuse power. And so I decided if I'm going to put a lot of energy into my job, I'm going to put it into something that I'm passionate about. So
Yeah.
I would definitely say that, as you also mentioned, Kamani, if you're swimming in a pool of toxicity, if you have the ability to start strategizing about how to get out, number one. But just for tomorrow, practical things is practice, 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 practice. Like really making your healing your priority. Like, that should be the number one priority.
Mhm.
So one of the things when I went through a dark night of the soul, and I had an aunt who was a clairvoyant and astrologist and metaphysician, she gave me a mantra, which I want to share with all of you. And the mantra goes, I, and you say your full name, will not permit any person, place, or thing to ruin my inner tranquility. And you say that over and over and over and over again. So protect your sovereignty, protect your liberation, protect your light and your beauty, because you are amazing. You are amazing. You are the fruit of your ancestors. So that's incredible. And then a practical thing that I do if I'm feeling like, ooh, I'm in a real toxic environment, is I imagine again that tree. And I imagine I'm not by myself. I have my ancestors with me. Like I feel them. And I'm like, and God, and like all the, there's all the unseen forces that are here with us to support us. So, and then come into your breath in your center, just like that beautiful meditation that Carolyn gave us. To any time you're starting to feel off center, if someone's, if it's like we do have a choice how we react. We can't control what's coming at
True.
us. We
True.
do have a choice of what we react to. So
Mhm.
my mother, who was in politics, and she was in like a cesspool, the old white boys network, they were throwing daggers at her. And
Mm.
it was like water off of a duck's back.
Ooh.
She chose not to absorb it. So when you don't absorb it, it actually goes back to the source. And then the source has to deal with their energy. So that's a practice. It's like a real practice not to accept or absorb. So protecting your sovereignty, your liberty, your light, your beauty, all of the
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. So protecting your peace. I always think of it like a psychological kind of grounding or like hazmat suit. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? As you go into these toxic environments, like the toxicity kind of bounces off to some degree, but
Mhm.
sometimes it starts permeating. And that's the part we have to recognize. You know what? It does eventually impact us. And so the importance of saving ourselves. So I'll paraphrase you too, Leslie. I will
Yeah.
not let any person or thing destroy my liberation. Is that kind of right?
Yeah. And on all levels, mentally, spiritually, physically, and emotionally, I will
Ooh.
not permit any person, place, or thing to ruin my inner tranquility, my inner structure, however you want to say it. But imagine that on all levels of your being. And then the other thing is I wanted to say, to your point, Dr. Kamani, is that when we do absorb it, to release it. So when we go home, like shake it off, stretch it out, breathe it out,
Yeah.
bathe it out, whatever you need to do to release. Make sure you're taking care of yourself.
Yeah, so important. So, like when you go to a toxic job and you leave a toxic job and you're maybe leaving, you're in your car, shake it off, get that toxicity out. Like you're not allowed in my car. And when you get home, don't allow it in your home. Okay. Allow your home to be a sanctuary space. Thank you so much, Leslie. What would you say, Rep? Oh,
Leslie, thank you for that. Carolyn, thank you. I'm reading this book now of breaking the habit of being myself and how I normally respond to anger and trauma, and how I used to inhale it, breathe it, repeat it, share it.
mm,
Um, I no longer do that. I'm controlling from the inside what I think, which will control my body in terms of how my body feels. And all this external noise and external negativity, I cannot respond to it the same way, because if I do, it's going to be inside of me, inside of my spirit, my
Yes.
soul, my DNA, and it's disruptive and
Yes.
it's cancerous.
Yes.
And I've been there responding to external trauma, and it almost killed me. And I
Mm,
will not do that again. I can't
mm,
afford to be on the brink of death, on the brink of financial disruption, losing my family, my job, my life. But I never lost faith in my hope in God.
mm,
So I'm learning to not respond the same way I did before. It, like
mm.
you said, Leslie, nope, that's you keep it out there. I'm not inhaling it. I'm not touching it. I'm not repeating it. I'm not
Yes.
sharing it. I'm not
Yes.
posting it. I'm not texting it
Mm-hmm.
because all those means are the same way of owning it. We say I
Yeah.
don't own it, but we do. I
Yeah.
am controlling how I think when I go to bed. I'm thinking about my ancestors, thinking
Mm,
about my mother in the kitchen cooking and the smell. And I go to sleep the last couple of nights just thinking something pleasant, something joyful. And that I can control, that
yeah.
I can inhale, that I
Yeah.
can breathe. I can't touch it anymore, but I can have spiritual connection with pleasantry
Yes.
and with God. So we control what we intake. The world doesn't give it to us. Don't
Yeah.
accept it. But
Yes.
we have to find a way to not respond the same way our body wants to react. We
Mm-hmm.
can't react. We have to be more conscious of what we do and breathe. Like Carolyn and Leslie been saying, breathe,
Yes. Yes.
breathe and inhale. And some people, what we're talking about ancestors, they may not know their ancestors. I'm looking at some of the comments. Their ancestors may not have been good people. They may
Mm,
not know who they are because they
mm,
don't know their past.
mm-hmm.
We know our past. We
Mm-hmm.
know who shaped us. We know who grew us. We know who fed into us. And our job is to feed and to help others to grow and to connect with something that's
Yeah.
inside of you. And that
Yeah.
something inside of you is God.
Yes.
It is God. So find it. Find the core of you and build it up and let it grow.
Yeah.
Touch it.
Yeah. You know what? I was thinking so many different things when you were talking. One was um, we have to remember that we do have choice. So these past few days have been very difficult for me because I kept thinking, oh my God, how am I going to make it through 4 years? It hasn't even been a whole week. He hasn't even really taken office. Like, how am I going to make it 4 years? What's this going to look like? And I said, wait, what do I have control over in this day? And so I think it's important for us as we moving through this season that we remember what we have control over and that we are mindful of not internalizing what other people are saying about us in terms of how we think and to see ways that people are projecting stuff onto us, that part. And then just being intentional and protecting our peace. And those memories you talked about, the memories of, you could smell things. So how do we go back and remember those memories? Because those memories are healing. Even if our ancestors are not with us anymore, the memories are still with us. And that is very healing.
Yes, Dr. Kamai, thank you. It's we've got to be able to control that. We
Yeah.
can control that.
Yeah.
We can. We can just what I'm working on now for me is I'm in the moment. I can't worry about tomorrow until tomorrow gets here. I don't worry about next week, next month, because I don't know what it's going to look like. And
Yeah.
if I think anxiously and negatively about next week, 4 years, I'm going to be a mess. I'm
True.
going to need all kinds of Afrocentric yoga and candles and breathing if I get angry and hold on to what's going to happen, what's going to
Yeah.
happen. I live for the day. I live for the moment. I concentrate on where I am, and that's where I am. and you can't worry about, because if we start worrying about and reacting to 4 years, then we've taken God out the picture.
True, true. And we're disconnected from ourselves and our current day reality. And it's disconnected
Absolutely.
from that we have agency, right? Okay. So ladies, as we're winding down, can you please share with the audience about services that you offer and how you can be contacted? I am going to read the community chat because I do like to have my community have a voice here as well. If you do need to leave early, just, write me a note in the private chat, okay? So Carolyn, if you could tell about services that you offer and how you could be contacted.
Yeah, so I'm a psychotherapist, licensed in New York, California, and Connecticut. So I do a lot of virtual appointments and groups. I'm also on Insight Timer app. You can follow me there. I do regular meditations live on there. And Carolyn Coleridge, I know I was able to type it in, but COLERIDGE. LCSW on YouTube. I'm uploading some meditations.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and then also intuitivesoulhealing.com is my website, and I am a therapist, I'm an intuitive, and I'm a healer. And just one thing I want to say about the ancestors is that if you don't know them, we're collective ancestors. Part of this path, what's going on in the planet, is to bring oneness together. And also as African American, the whole community's oneness, but as African Americans also, that there's so I feel like people come into a certain life because they have the strength. I hate when people say this too, but the strength to walk through difficulties. And I didn't want to forget when I was a soul who God was. And sometimes if I had picked a different body, I might have forgotten. I'm just saying, it constantly puts us back. Again, game on. And thank you so much for having me and your patience with the technicality.
Oh, I'm so happy you were here. And Carolyn, tell me your website again.
Intuitive soulhealing.com.
Soul Healing.
And you Google me. I'm all over the place. I'm Insight Timer.
Okay, so I'll put all of Carolyn's information in the description section. Thank you so much, Carolyn, for being here today with all the technical stuff. I'm just so happy that you were able to be here. And what about you, Leslie? Can you share a little bit about services that you offer and how you can be contacted?
Sure. First of all, I want to say thank you, Kamani, so much for having us. And it's like, I feel so filled and grateful to meet all of you. It's just such a gift. So Afroflow Yoga, our website is www.afroflowyoga. And my husband, Jeff, and we have online programs to make it accessible for people. We've created some online courses. One's called Rest and Restore, and one's called Rise and Shine. And they're trauma-informed short practices that you can do on a daily basis. And we have right now $1. For $1, you could try them out for 7 days. And then, and it's, we've really wanted to make it accessible for people. So for $12.99, we have a membership, and we're constantly creating new programs. And we also have live stream classes. And we have been, during this time, and over the last couple of months, because just really feeling like there's so much division, we've been offering, we stream live on YouTube. So this Sunday, on the 17th coming up, we're doing a live YouTube and also on our Zoom by donation. And we also have little discussions, like to hold space for people. And then we also have a teacher training program, as you know, Kamani. Yes. So grateful. And with 4 modules, and one module is, the first module is really rooted in African Afro-centered healing practices, embodied practices, and community building. So, and then we have retreats. So we do retreats. We go to Costa Rica every year, and I also co-teach a women's leadership retreat at the Omega Institute. And then we're here actually in Baltimore. I'm in the hotel room right now because we actually do a lot of private work with social activists, social justice folks, so organizations and corporations who really want to do the work in this, rooted in healing. So that's it.
Awesome.
So thank you.
Thank you, Leslie. Rev O, can you please tell about
Thank you.
services you offer and how it can be contacted?
Oh, I can be contacted at interruptionswithoutwalls.com. Interruptions is my personal story and journey of experiencing trauma with my personal life and my health that has impacted me. And what I've learned to do through the grace of God is to teach people of color and people who have a faith mainly that not to believe the myths and stigmas of mental health,
Mm,
not to believe that your voice doesn't matter, not to believe that you have to go to work, you need this paycheck, you don't deserve health care, you have to do this, you have to wear the mask, you have to keep going. It's going to show up in our health one way or the other. So interruptions without walls, what we do is we have training programs that we offer online and in person in various communities. We're only 2 years old. And so I'm very new. I did not plan for this life. This was a life that I had to reinvent myself into because the life and path that I was on, because of trauma and mental health, changed. Now, I could easily say, because I can't be, because I was grieving the Odell that I used to be, what I used to do, I grieved her, but it doesn't mean that I can't travel, I can't teach, I can do these things. I just have to do them differently. And that's what I've learned. So we teach people of faith, especially people of faith, that God doesn't want you to suffer. There
mm,
are myths and stigmas of our faith that we're holding on to. Trust God. If it happened to you, if your loved one died, it's God's will. No, it's not God's will. There's evil and good in this world. And sometimes evil will take somebody out. Evil
mm,
will temporarily win, but
mm,
God gets the victory. So
mm.
evil took my son's life, but God made the victory of allowing me to take interruptions, to teach back to people, to break through generational trauma so that we're
Yes.
not repeating the same words over, the same beliefs over and over again that are preventing us from healing. So we're in the midst of growing. We're growing with discussion cards, with curriculum in college educations, on college campuses. I've been blessed to, on this journey, to have a conversation in Italy and to know that people are hurting, but they still love their God and
Yes.
still faith in their God. And so that's the work that I do. You can find me on my website, and we're growing. So right now we have classes that are virtual. We have organizations that are reaching out to us and asking us, can we come to their community and offer interruptions? We are peer to peer trauma informed coaches. This is the work that we do. We're not clinicians, but we talk to you person to person from life experience on how you can reinvent yourself in the midst of trauma and have hope and faith to reinvent yourself and to know that God did not punish you. God did not give you the sickness. That is so important to know. God didn't give you a loved one cancer or a disease. Life did. The
Mm,
water that we breathe, the water that we drink, the air that we breathe, the food that we've been forced to eat, not God.
yeah.
So teaching, it's educating, and it's breaking generational trauma. And that is the work that I do. So you can find me. You can order my book. It's on the website, and I'm in the process of writing my second book where the 14 congregations that went through interruptions came back and told their story of how they have broken the chains of generational trauma, how they have decided to tell their doctors the truth and not just say, I'm blessed and highly favored, but I've got some pain. I'm not sleeping. I have these issues, and being okay to love God and still see a therapist, to love God and still tell your doctor the truth, to love God and still take the medicine. So that's the work that I do. And then we talk about how to reinvent yourself. So we do resilience and emotional wellness. One of the things that I learned is someone told me that people of faith are more resilient than they know. And he said, let me teach you how to teach others who have a faith to be resilient and can bounce back, to reinvent themselves in the midst of trauma, in the midst of their darkness. And that is the work that I do. That's the mission that I'm on. And watch out because interruptions is growing.
Yes.
We're coming your area. We are
Yes.
growing.
Yes. So, ladies, I just want to say this was an example of post-traumatic growth here. We talked about, something traumatic has happened, but we are also saying that we will be okay and we will grow as a result of this situation. But know that there's different healing practices for you to utilize, okay? So, ladies, please give this video, if you're watching this video, give this video a thumbs up, okay? Because it feeds the algorithm and it sends this video to other Black women. So, ladies, I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so full of gratitude for each of you. I am going to read the community chat. So if you are able to stay, that's amazing. If you need to drop off, I understand. Okay. So I always read the community chat because I want to give our listeners, an opportunity to share their voice as well, because so many times we are not heard. Okay. So I'm going to read the chat. Greetings, beautiful sisters. Hello. Thank you for the space. Dropping that prayer, set your mind on things above, not on earthly things. It is sad when people don't know that their actions hurt their own interests. I'm in the 92% and only really trusting others in the same demographic. Sure, it doesn't feel great in the moment, but gotta stay safe and protect peace. 92% of Black women that voted for Harris. No one gets to tell us how to grieve or feel safe. Yeah, nope. I told that person in the room to read the room. Yep, audacity to feel entitled to access to us. That Black was earned. No one cares. Spending my energy planning my relocation out of the country. Point taken. Dr. Kamani, blessings again to continue to foster safe spaces for Black women to process and gain strength to move forward. It's my pleasure. It is my honor. The exodus will be felt. Let's see. Yes, very clear. Yes, said in all paths of our lives. Like we don't feel, like we don't have emotions. Blessings, beloved Black Queen sisters. We are the greatest gift of Mother Earth. Love this. Thank you. Ashe, amen. Amen. Only a white man could do what Trump did. I would name it as lies and deceit by white supremacy and racism, victim or theft by capitalism, afraid of violence from patriarchy, and the enemy is the same enemy as always. We can't give up. Stay in the fight. Struggle is not easy, but it keeps us moving in the right direction. Good evening, beautiful Black queens, Dr. Kamani, Reverend Odell, Miss Carolyn, Miss Leslie. Thank you for all of your loving care for us to stand together. Rev, go on and preach. I'm not going back. Don't give up hope. Our freedom is a constant struggle. They hate us because despite everything, we are still here, not going back. Still, we rise. These jobs ain't loyal. Put you first. Stephanie Perry said that. Yes. Yes, indeed. What a beautiful space you provided this evening. Thank you. Thank you for this healing conversation. Our ancestors. Okay, I'm not block. See, this is an example. Sometimes I get trolls. I'm just going to block that. Okay. Let's see. Thank, what does it say? Those of us who remember the 60s, Martin Luther King was our person of world. It is grief. Again, Vice President Harris brought us hope for new joy, peace, but we will go forward again. Yes, we will. Let's see. Drive by the comment, listen to Hallelujah to Stun by the Caravans and Recharge Sisters. Signed, Random Black Guy. Okay. Thank you. We got a super sticker. Thank you so much for your support. Let's see. Thank you so much for this. Stand tall, beautiful sisters. I will not let any person or thing to destroy my tranquility. So much what I need to hear. Thank you. Deeply grateful. Yes, sir. Evil, it's always go back to evildoers. Yes. Thank you, ladies, for this invaluable safe space. I feel uplifted and grounded. Carolyn, thank you for centering me. I will continue to honor my ancestors and protect my sovereignty. Love it. Thank you. Thank you for that. So true. It is important to hold off toxic comments, doom, negativity, and hold on to our own strengths, visions, and principles. I love thoughts on how Black women can survive American US fascism. Leslie always promotes, yes, Leslie always promotes repeating positive affirmation. Signed, Leslie's husband, Jeff. Hey, Jeff, thank you so much for tuning in. How supportive. I love it. Let's see. The next 4 years, it's going to be exhausting. So we need to learn where to spend our energy. We need to continue to mobilize, unite, and keep the faith. Yes, we do. Weave, Hebrew. Okay, I don't think I understand this one. I'm going to skip that one. Oh, another super sticker. Wow. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Much appreciated for your support. Let's see. Thank you, ladies. Great stream. Well done, ladies. Thank you for your insight in the safe space. Let's see. To take it further, do not buy products or stocks from those who supported his campaign. We can all choose to do our own thing, right? So some people I've heard, whatever you need to do to help yourself feel okay, do that. Okay. As long as I hurt nobody else. Okay. So, ladies, briefly, last words, and then we're going to shut down the live stream. So, Carolyn, last words.
Love yourselves. Love who you are. Love the skin you're in. You're more than anything can offend you. Rise above because you are of the divine. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Leslie, last words.
Be a steward of your own mind, body, and soul. And energy flows where energy goes. So be really gentle with yourselves and amplify, raise your vibration, and just continue to be love and light.
Yes. Thank you. Rev O.
Everything these two ladies just said. And most importantly, name your behavior, your emotion, understand it, don't group it, name it, address it, and remember that trauma and pain and anger and hate lives in our bodies, and it is detrimental for us, especially women of color. So it's detrimental. We pass it on to the next generation. In order not to hold on to it, have faith, trust God, figure out what you need for you to grow, to flourish, to be happy, to be loved, and to have peace.
Yes, beautifully stated, all three of you. So, ladies, remember, as we think about, as you heard all these wonderful tips, watch the video again because you need to continue that healing. So watch the video again as much as you need to. And also please share this with other Black women so we can support their healing as well. And as I mentioned before you leave this room, give this video a thumbs up so that more Black women have access to this information. And subscribe to my channel. Turn the notification bell so you know when I go on live, okay? So thank you again to my guests. Thank you everyone for watching. And we are here for you. Healing is possible, and we value and we appreciate you. Okay, take care, everyone. Bye-bye. Panelists, if you guys can stay on, please. Bye-bye, everyone.